G'day, I've been talking about this generation and next generation leaders, raising up next generation leaders in actual fact. And as the prophetic, words of Malachi speak about John the Baptist, he says, Elijah, John the Baptist, will come and he will turn the hearts of the fathers toward the children, children toward the parents. This is a really weird prophecy, but and a lot of people think that it's one of those mystery things that's going to happen in the future sometime, but I think John the Baptist was Elijah. I mean, there's no doubt about that. Jesus said so himself. And so I looked for the way in which John the Baptist set up a relationship, a heart relationship between himself and the next generation. And you can see it really clearly and amazingly in the relationship he had with Jesus. And he is classically this generation, the old covenant, and Jesus is classically next generation, new covenant. I'm not saying that's the way it is with the two generations now, but I'm saying that, see, when I went looking for John the Baptist, the things that he did and said in his relationship with Jesus, and I found this wonderful, it's well known, comments that he made when somebody came and said to him, hey, listen, that bloke's getting more than you. And he responds by saying this, and this is the core, the heart of a father-mother generation person for the next generation, son or daughter person. I need to say some more things about those terms, but somebody comes and says, you know, that bloke's getting more than you, therefore you better ramp it up a bit and become a bit more competitive or build a bigger church or, you know, make your name great or whatever, you know, a lot of rubbish. And he says, first of all, you can't compare us because I'm doing what I was told to do and he's doing what he was told to do. That's the first thing, to realise that if you're going to raise up next generation leaders, you need to have your own bag and carry that with any kind of compromise. And you need to make sure you understand what their bag is. You need to help them find that. In fact, the second thing he says is this relationship is like a friend of the bridegroom. Who knows the names of the friend of the bridegroom? Nobody knows that. You know, this isn't even the best man. This is the friend of the bridegroom who accompanies the bride to the bridal house, and she's waiting there for the bridegroom. I don't know what he's doing back at the party, but when he comes, the friend protects the bride until the bride and the bridegroom get together. And here is a wonderful heart. There is just an atmosphere around. I can feel this atmosphere that when you say, my job is to get bride and bridegroom together, is to get believer and Jesus together, to get younger, new generation, next generation leader and Jesus together, the bride and the bridegroom. The bridegroom loves the bride and the bride must love the bridegroom. And when they get together, that's your job. You know, job's not over, but it's nearly over. That's your job. So your job for the next generation is to get them into a loving, passionate relationship with Jesus. That's what you're accountable for. Not you, you know, not primarily, we've got to be good friends and so we sacrifice everything else in order to stay friends, or I'm so insecure that I'm not game to say anything. No, we hold them accountable. They have a bride to bridegroom relationship. The third thing he says is interesting too, because he says, and this is a cage rattler as far as our culture is concerned, because he says in this relationship, he must increase and I must decrease. Now I know you're going to say to me, well, that was Jesus and, you know, every next generation person isn't Jesus. But just think of the atmosphere, the relationship atmosphere that's created when the older generation person wants to decrease, to provide space, open space for the younger generation person to flourish. I don't know whether your ego can take that. I don't know whether your insecurity can take that. But if your ego and insecurity need dealing with, well, go lie on your face. Go and lie on your face on the floor, lie on your face on the floor, until God deals with that ego problem, the pride problem, the insecurity problem, and you can say, I want my job to raise up many, many, many next generation leaders who can increase and increase, and I don't care whether I want to decrease so they can increase. I don't want to have my ego, my personality dominating and they're just attachments to me. No. I'm out of the way. I'm making space for them. As I make space for them, they pick up that heart and that encouragement. There's no better place for a young leader to make mistakes. There's no better place for a young leader to find their feet. There's no better place for a young leader to actually take hold of the things that God has placed inside them and go do them, when they have an older generation leader or leaders who are their cheer squad, who believe in them, love them, want them to succeed, and will do anything to help that to happen in the godly success terms. So there's the heart of the father and mother generation, and I want to know whether you've got that heart, because if you haven't, you'll never raise up next generation leaders. Simple as that.